welcome to the Photography and Graphic A-Level webinar. What we're going to do is we're just going to start off by introducing staff so that you've got some familiar faces. Then we're going to move on to talk a bit about the courses, and then obviously please just feel free to pop your questions in the Q&A and we'll answer those live for you. Okay, so my name is Vicky Snowball and I'm the head of the art department and I teach on the photography course. I'll pass over to Simon.
Hello there, I'm Simon Gregory. I teach on fine art and photography and I'm the head of Art Foundation.
Thank you, Simon. And Rachel?
Yeah, I'm Rachel and I teach on photography, textiles and on the Art Foundation course.
And Robin?
Hi, I'm Robin Armitage. I teach on graphics and also Art Foundation.
And finally, but not least, Brian.
Hello, I'm Brian and I teach on graphic design and foundation art course.
Thank you, Brian. Right, so what we'll do is we'll firstly start off with graphics. So Robin, do you want to give us a course overview for graphics?
Yep, no. Am I on? No problem, Vicky. As I said, I'm Robin Armitage, and if you study graphics, you'll be studying it myself, and Brian will be with me in a minute. I'll give you a brief overview of the course first, so you know what we're doing. Can you still hear me, guys?
Brian, could you just mute your mic, Brian, and then I think we'll hear Robin.
Is that better?
Yeah, just can you turn your volume up, Robin?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Sorry about that, guys. I'll give you a brief overview of the course, folks, so you know what you'll be doing if you decide to study graphic communication at QE. So studying graphic communication at A-level leads to a wide range of careers, including graphic design for print, web or film and television, brand design, illustration, product design, advertising, video games design, architecture, packaging, user experience design, and animation, and amongst others. The graphic communication A-level is a 2-year linear course. In the first year, we'll take you through a series of workshops which will teach you a wide range of traditional and digital design skills. The workshops include things like hand rendering techniques such as fine liner illustration, monoprint, stenciling, cell drawing, and collage. You'll also learn how to work with type and how to use digital design software like Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. And don't worry if you've not done any of this before, we'll teach you everything in the first year and you get plenty of practice before you start your major project. Towards the end of your first year, you start your first major project, which counts for 60% of your final grade. It can be anything you want, so you can choose your own project in any area of design that you like. So you might want to choose to focus on something specific, or you might want to keep your options open by including a bit of everything. Your second major project is the other 40% of your grade, and that's based on a theme set by the exam board. But again, you can interpret it any way you like to suit your interests. So you leave QE with a portfolio of work tailored to whichever career path you choose.
Thank you, Robin. If I can hand over to Rachel, she's going to talk about the photography course. Yeah,
so photography works very similar to graphics in that there's 2 components, but we start off in photography looking at different skills to develop. So you don't have to have studied photography at GCSE before, and we'll teach you all the basic skills that you need to know for using a digital SLR camera. So working on different settings such as shutter speed, aperture and ISO, and how to use them to create high quality images, but also how to use them creatively as well. So we do a series of workshops in those, and then we look at how we can edit and manipulate images using Photoshop and Lightroom. So we've got some nice classrooms full of iMac computers with all the software on, so we teach you how to use all of those. Which is nice because it's more industry standard, so you have sort of insight into that. Once you've kind of responded to all the workshop lessons, we then do like a series of mini projects, So we do sort of mini personal project where you can choose a theme, and then you're left a little bit more independent where we sort of guide you in terms of telling you when you would need to collect a shoot, then going on to editing and how to reflect on that shoot. But it's up to you kind of where you choose to go and plan your shoots. So it's really independent and really creative, which is nice. We also look at doing a project that's based online. So you'll create like a website portfolio where we present you with a series of tasks that are a little bit more unusual, but it just allows you to explore the course more as in sort of in the eyes of like an actual photographer. So how would you respond to these unusual tasks that we've given you as a photographer? So that's really fun. We then go on to a personal project, so similar to what Robin said about the graphics personal project. So this is kind of your main project after you've sort of practiced on the other mini projects, if you like. So you can choose a theme, plan your shoots, work on some editing and manipulation of images. You look at different photographers and artists who might inspire you, and look at different themes and choose one that best suits you. And that's for your kind of component one personal project. So we've had students that have looked at like landscape and environment photography, fashion photography, unusual portraiture, and textures, like sort of looking at formal elements in colour and texture and patterns. A whole range of things really. It's really nice to sort of mark the photography work because we get such a vast array of themes in everyone's project, so no work is the same when we're marking. So once you've done the component one personal project, you then go on to component two, which is the externally set assignment, so the exam project that we sometimes call it. This runs exactly the same as the first personal project, but at the end of it, you'll be doing a 15-hour exam. And in that exam time, you can plan all your work beforehand, but then you'll basically be like creating a final piece. So you normally work on a final exam shoot, work on the editing, and then present a final outcome in response to that theme that you've selected from the exam paper.
Great, thank you, Rachel. We've just got a question come through there. So how many people normally take A-level photography? Well, photography is a very popular course. So currently we've got 4 first-year A-level classes. And then we've got 3 second-year classes, so it is a popular course. Usually in the classes there's around between 16 to 20 students per group, so they're, you know, a really nice size, and obviously it gives us time to work with students quite closely so that you get that one-to-one time, because students are, as Rachel mentioned, all working on different projects that interest them. So I hope that answers your question. Right, we're going to move on to looking at facilities. So Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about the facilities in graphics?
Yep, sure. I mean, one of the things that you'll probably notice behind us is all the Apple Macs in the studio, and these are the sort of industry standard machines that everybody works on. So if you go into any sort of the HE environment, any of the universities, you'll find that they're all pretty much sort of like they have suites of Macs and that sort of thing. But if you go out into industry, this is the sort of machines that you're going to be working on. So there's Macs all over the department. If you can't get into graphics and you're working, we've got 23 in here, but there's other studios where there are Macs available. So generally during the day, a student can find a machine to work on. We have all the software from the Adobe Creative Suite. So basically anything from video editing right the way through to vector graphics, and the top of the sort of crop, which is usually Photoshop, which everybody tends to use all over the place. But also, you know, we will install any sorts of particular software that you have that you're working on. So any apps or anything that you've come to sort of like know quite well and feel would help to enhance your project work, we're quite willing to sort of install that on our machines. So beyond that, we have scanners everywhere. So A4 scanners are in abundance all over the department. We also have a large format A3 scanner for people working on larger format sort of images. And we have people come from various different parts of the departments, from fine art and textiles, to come and use our scanners. We've also got a new laser cutting facility whereby we sort of etch and can cut on a variety of different materials in very large format. So that's available to everybody. Also, we have digital cameras everywhere, from sort of compact if you're just recording images for project work, or you need an SLR to do something more sophisticated. We've got those in the department and available through our library. We have digital drawing tablets. So basically anybody who's wanting to sort of draw, paint digitally directly into software packages, we have a range of those, and we encourage people to have their own if they're keen and sort of wanting to work more in that area. We also have a range of traditional media, so cutting mats, scalpels, paint, drawing items, pencils, that sort of thing. Anything that you sort of think of that you would like to work with, we tend to have it. We also have light pads, which in the design environment you use quite a lot, basically to sort of help you speed up your working. And it's one of the things that we'll teach you about when we're doing all the different sort of workshops at the beginning of the year, which Robin talked about earlier. I think that pretty much covers all of it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Brian. Just whilst we're on the topic of graphics, I've got a question that's come through. So somebody's asking if you have to do graphics at GCSE in order to study it at A level. Robin or Brian, do you want to answer that?
I'll take that. Basically, no, you don't have to. I mean, because at the beginning of the year, we do a whole series of workshops. So basically, all the skills that you will need to sort of like develop, we sort of demonstrate to you in the first 12 weeks of the course. We also sort of have folders and sort of different examples of what students have done in the past online that you can take a look at. And what we always say is take a look at those images and see if that's the sort of thing you'd like to do, even if you don't feel you might be able to do it right now. That's the sort of things that our students are engaged with. So basically, if you feel that you'd like to get involved in that, then take a look at that material as well.
Thank you, Brian. Right, we've got some questions coming through from Jack about photography. So what grades would you need to get into photography, and what will you need to have a camera at home, or will you use supplies with one? So first question there then, Jack. So in terms of grades for photography, the entry requirements are that if you are doing an art and design based subject or a DT subject, we would ask you to gain at least a level 4. So grade 4 in that area. Now, if you haven't got a creative GCSE, it's advisable that we usually get students to put together a small portfolio, and you can either send us that online. So lots of students that haven't got the option to do a creative GCSE often, you know, take that approach. And in terms of cameras and kit, in terms of facilities on the photography course, we've got a great range of cameras available for students to use in college. So as Rachel mentioned, when we do the workshop stages, we do use college cameras, so students will have access to using the college kit. So in the first instance, if you don't necessarily have your own camera, that won't prevent you from making progress on the course, so you can borrow them. We also have like a central library in college where you can loan them overnight. So for example, if you wanted to take a shoot outside of college hours, then you can borrow them and take them home. So we are quite fortunate in that sense. And then in terms of the studios, so we've got 2 purpose-built classroom studios downstairs that are equipped with Macs. And again, as Brian mentioned, it has all of the Adobe software. So in photography, we focus primarily on using Lightroom and also Photoshop to import and export for web, catalogue images, print contact sheets, and also edit them as well. So right up to natural enhancements and image manipulation, where you're starting to manipulate colours and adding layers. We also have a negative scanner. So we do some analog photography as well. So if you are interested in darkroom practices, we can facilitate that. We do have a purpose-built photo studio, so that's set up with professional lighting. And again, we've got a whole host of kit as well that's available for you to use. So things like specialist lenses, so telephoto, wide angle, fisheye, macro. We've got an underwater housing. We've got all sorts of tripods, gorilla pods. And then also we have an exposure unit downstairs. So Simon does a lot of cyanotypes. So we all call him Simonotype, which is a bit of an in-house joke. He's very keen on delivering work on cyanotypes. So again, if you're interested in more analog processes, you will have that option as well. So we are really fortunate in terms of, you know, of the department. We do have a lot of facilities and kit. So hopefully that's answered your questions there, Jack. Right, so are there any entry requirements for graphics? Robin, do you want to answer that one?
Am I on? Yes, it's the same as photography. If you've done art It's preferable if you've got a 4, but again, as Vicky said, if you haven't done an art subject, as we know quite a few people haven't, if you're interested in it, you need 4 grade 4s, 4 grade 4s. Is that right, Vicky? Yeah, and then 5 grade 4s in GCSEs. But if you haven't done art, as Vicky said, for photography, it's the same. If you send us a portfolio or a little sample of your work that we can see what you're interested in, I'm sure that'll be fine. Shall I take the other one, Vicky, while I'm on?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a question from Will. Would media studies fit under the creative subject with DT? If by that you mean if you've done media studies, would that count as a creative subject? Yes, absolutely, particularly for graphics and photography. It's very, very similar, media studies to graphics. So there are a lot of skills that you will have learned there that you can carry across.
Excellent. Thank you, Robin. Now moving on to careers and progression. I know Robin's touched on that in graphics. Simon, do you want to talk a little bit about Art Foundation and progression in photography?
Yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of our students who choose to progress to sort of photography courses, they'll go on and sort of study things like fashion, editorial photography, commercial photography, reportage, journalism sort of style photography, or even kind of move into sort of more kind of areas of fine art photography. And obviously, careers wise, there's sort of quite a broad sort of base of kind of potential careers from photography. Sort of, you know, obviously like as a sort of commercial photographer or a newspaper photographer, but also in terms like things like weddings and sort of creating sort of social media content and stuff now. I mean, a lot of our students do sort of go on and then study Art Foundation and really sort of develop their skills a little bit more and sort of pick sort of much higher sort of performing HE courses before kind of sort of going on to university. So it's quite a good idea sort of often to kind of study the Art Foundation course before progressing onto HE, but then many students do progress direct to HE. I mean, one of the things to note about sort of studying photography and graphics is that you develop quite a lot of kind of transferable skills. So regardless of the career that you're sort of planning to go into or the higher education route that you're planning on going in, to those transferable software skills and thinking skills are really useful at higher education. So you'll develop a really good working knowledge of things like Photoshop, which in any business or any company is a really sort of valuable kind of skill commodity. So, yeah.
Thank you, Simon. We've got another question there. Robin, are you answering this? So if you want to do animation and games design, would graphics be the best choice?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yes, it would. Yeah, graphic communication is perfect if you want to do either video game design or animation. We have lots of students who do both of those, particularly video game animation. So when you come to do your major project at the end of the first year through most of the second year, you can set yourself a game character design brief, or you can write an animation brief. It's entirely up to you. We've got all the facilities and we can show you how to do that.
Thank you, Robin. And then finally, we do have a social media presence. So if you do have Instagram, you might want to join our QE Instagram page. We do also have a Twitter page as well, where staff and students can share what they are doing. So it's definitely worth checking that out. And we also have a Facebook alumni as well. So basically, when students leave, they do join our Facebook page. So again, you can also request to join that page and look at what past students have done. And obviously, lastly, just a little bit about trips. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit difficult under the circumstances at the moment, but prior to coronavirus hitting us all, the opportunities for, we do a series of local trips. So that's often somewhere where we can get there and back in a day. So especially for those students that will be travelling in on college buses. So things like Whitby, Durham, York, Newcastle, and then we've also got some international study visits that we've been on. So to LA, New York, Rome, Venice, so lots of interesting opportunities on the course. Now, obviously, that is bringing us towards the end of our webinar this afternoon, but if you are interested in hearing anything, you know, I want to know any more about the art courses, please do feel free to get in touch. So you can contact us via the general inquiries on the QE website, and there is also lots more information on the QE site as well. So we do have an art and design website with some practical activities on there if you want to engage further with us, and obviously partake in some of those activities just before you get started with us. So hopefully we've answered all of your questions, and we'll look forward to meeting you in the future. Thank you, everyone.